What is up? How you doing? Hey, this one might ruffle some feathers. When is it a good time to keep the smaller crappies? Roll the intro. So we post a lot of catch pics, right? And on our social media, we have had some comments that always say something like this.
Why you guys always have fish that are small?
Why you guys only catch small fish?
Man, I can't figure out why you guys only have small fish. I wouldn't even think about keeping something that small.
Here's the reason. Now, I'm gonna speak from a position in Northeast Ohio because that's where we're based. There are a plethora of area lakes that have a massive population in the crop.
Meaning that they are way overpopulated.
Now, what happens with crappie specifically when they become overpopulated is they become stunted. The competition for food is way too vast, and as a result, the crappie becomes small. They only grow so much, and then they stay about 9.5, maybe at most.
9.5 inches, that is.
So what the Ohio Department of Natural Resources has done is they have introduced a hybrid species that doesn't naturally reproduce, so that not only it will eat the smaller crappie, but also eat some of the other forage fish, and in return kind of thin out the herd so that those crappie can become bigger. So in the state of Ohio, I can assure you that if you ever see a species called a wiper.
Now what's a wiper?
Well, a wiper is a roll that looks just like this that you use on your...
Just kidding.
A wiper is a hybrid species of fish that is a cross between a white bass and a striper. Now what happens is when you cross those two species, you get a wiper that does not naturally reproduce, and it's a metric that the DNR can measure.
That's Department of Natural Resources.
So now, in an area that has an overpopulation or an overabundance of a certain species, they can introduce this species to the body of water that eats like crazy, and they don't naturally reproduce. So let's just say they put in 100 for easy numbers. They know about 10% might die off. They know they last about 5 to 10 years at very most. Now they have an understanding and a good tool, really, to regulate that population. Now, what do we do as anglers to help that? This is my opinion.
Disclaimer, disclaimer.
What I have encountered is that in those lakes that are overpopulated, you typically have a no limit policy. What I mean by that is there's no length limit on size of fish or on quantity. So literally, if you wanted to keep 1,000 9-inch fish, you can do that. Now, 9 inches is kind of a threshold for me. Have I kept smaller? Of course. But in those area lakes that don't have the regulations for quantity or size,
keep them.
Now, why do I say that? Because not only are we helping the wipers out with their job, which is thinning out the herd, we're also helping the population of crappie so that down the line, the crappie don't remain stunted, they continue to grow. So that body of water needs us. Now, how do they determine that information? Every year they take a census or a survey. They use shocking methods where they have these big tentacles that go around on boats and it sends an electric current in the water. Now, they scan a certain number of acreage, and based off of that acreage, they then multiply it out and they get a general understanding as to how the population is for certain species. So after they determine what the population is, they make moves on the regulations and introduce these hybrid species like the wiper. Long story short, what I'm getting to is, when is it okay to keep small fish? Whenever you see regulations in a lake, trust they have done their homework and they know that the population is vast. The only way to see future fish get bigger in that body of water is to thin them suckers out.
That means keep them.
And let's be honest, would you rather eat a grandpa fish or a young fish with nice firm flesh? So not only do they taste better, the fish itself is much firmer. So it's a win-win for everybody. It helps the DNR out, it helps the population of crappie, and it helps the old
Tom-tom.
So pay attention. If you see a lake with lifted regulations like this, keep the fish. I understand it can be a pain to kind of clean a small fish like this, but you get enough of them, you can feed the family. Obviously, in other areas where the regulations are still intact, you're gonna wanna abide by those regulations that the state sets forth. In the state of Ohio, I believe right now it's 30 crappie at 9 inches long. So if you're somewhere where that regulation has not been lifted, you better follow the rules. Otherwise, old green britches is gonna get you. So I'm here to kind of break the myth that if you see someone, a fellow angler that's out there keeping small fish, check to see if the lake has a regulation. If it doesn't, they're doing us a favor. I can't tell you how many times I've heard opinions on other anglers because they see people catching and keeping small fish. They might be helping us. Hey, what do you think about this subject? Leave a comment below. Let us know what you think. Make sure to subscribe for more content. Hit that thumbs up and ring that notification bell so you're getting all the juicy notifications. Share it with your favorite friend and we will see you on the next one. Woo!